Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to askNK. Today we're taking a look at an advanced procedural real foam shader that you can now use directly in Blender. Now for those who like to create realistic foams, maybe for your product photography or maybe for your scenes, this is definitely something that you should take a look at. And for sure, link is going to be in the description for those who like to grab this, as it's available on Blender Market, and this is made available by Nisarga. Now, how this shader works is pretty simple. So this is more like a real world application, especially for product photographers and people that would like to render stuff and also get these things looking as realistic as possible. This shader will save you time. It is extremely easy to work with, but crazily advanced, and it's going to be very time consuming if you would like to create these things by yourself. So you can see we have all of this stuff. If you like to tweak them, you want to get the most out of it, yes, you can. So we can just go in there and say maybe we want to sculpt this a little bit more. Yep, and we can go and start sculpting this in real time. So how do you work with this, and what do you need to keep in mind? So how you can work with this is extremely simple. So let's go ahead and grab ourselves a brand new scene and then add Suzanne right here. I'm going to subdivide Suzanne by 2, right click, make that smooth shade, go right over here, and I think we should just let that be. And next thing which we would like to do is just add a UV sphere. So I'm also going to bring this UV sphere down to a point like that, and let's also smooth shade this one as it is. Now this is the foam which I would like to apply onto Suzanne, and first off I would like to actually sculpt this and get it ready for action. And for that I will just go ahead and get the elastic deform, press F on the keyboard to drag this all the way out, and we can just deform this how we want. So probably I would like to get this thing to feel like, there is a sort of foam on top of Suzanne's head. That's the idea for this one. So we can, just run with this idea. Probably Suzanne is coming out from the shower, something like that. And yeah, okay. So we have this ready. So how do we work with that shader? How we can work with the shader is very simple. All you need to do is go over to File, go over to Append, and then locate the Real Foam folder. Now, once you find the Real Foam shader folder, double click on the Real Foam shader.blend file, and also double click on the node tree. And once you do that, you would notice that we have the Real Foam shader. Click on that and click on Append. And once you append this, the next thing which you need to do is drag out a simple editor like this one, and then you need to switch your editor type to the shader editor. And once you do that, select the object which you want to apply the shader to, click right here to add a new shader. If you already have an existing shader, that's no problem. All you need to do is hold down Shift, tap A on the keyboard, click to search, and then type in the word real. And once you do that, press the enter key to reveal this. Now, some things that you need to take into account while working with this thing is this: that if you like to preview what the bubbles will look like before you actually start rendering, you can link the bubble preview to your surface. And that way you can now start seeing what it would look like. And of course, right now you probably wouldn't see it. And for the volume, you need to connect the volume right over here. Now, how do you preview these things, and how do you see it? So what we need is a mapping. All right, so you need to get a mapping, and this mapping, I'm just going to connect the vector right over to this part. You see how simple that is. If you already have this set up, it's not going to be a problem. And then you need a texture coordinate, and this texture coordinate, if you already have a UV, of course you can use a UV and connect that UV over to your vector. But right now I'm just going to go ahead and use object and connect this to the vector. And once we do that, you can start seeing where all the bubbles will be placed. And at this point, you can now go in and play with the parameters that you have here, which actually makes it advanced. So you can play with the parameters that you have here and get the most out of it. So maybe you want to have the second bubble group to be smaller. You want to have more of them. You want to have less of them. Yeah, you can. If you want to get some randomness, of course you can. You can play with the third bubble group. So you could see that we have like 4 different bubble groups that you can work with. If you like to change the color of the foam, yes, you can do that. And for those who like to get, a couple of density variations, yes, you can also do these things right here. Now, once you're done, you need to render this in cycles, as it only supports cycles right now. So to get this happening in cycles, all we need to do is go over to your render property and switch this from EV over to cycles. And once you switch this from EV over to cycles, the first things which you would notice is everything looks like it's cool, but it's not, because we are still using the bubble preview. Connect the shader right now to the surface, and that way you would start getting some results. It's also very interesting to note that once you're working with this, you probably would not get the kind of results that you want at this point. So you need to play with the density as well to just get the right amount of density that you want. Another thing to do to get a very good result when you're working with a shader like this is try as much as possible to have enough light within your scene. And what do I mean by enough light? So if we dive all the way back, I mean, you can take a look and see that yes, we are having that shader right here, but we're not getting the light that we want. So for the lighting, what you need is not a point light. What you actually need is an area light. So to get that lighting happening, what we need to do is we can switch these to area light right here, and then we need to position these right to how we want to see it. Now, if you already have a HDR light, of course, you can also use that. And I'm also going to put a link in the description for those who would like to, take a look at some options that has to do with HDR lights and see what they can get out of it. So we can also get this other one and we can use this. So maybe we can just use a 2-point lighting system right now. We can do that, and let's also target this part. And yeah, so we have something like that. We can still choose to use this to, change the way we want the lighting to look like. If you also want to do the same thing for here, you can also do that. For these, instead of setting these to 10, I might just set this to 1200. And we also have this one at 1000. So let's see what we have going on right now. So with this, we will jump back over to cycles, and we already have a lot of things going on right here. So let's actually go down and tone some of these things. I think the one with 1200 seems to be too much. So let's select that area light one more time, and I would go in and drop that. So let's drop that to about 600. And yep, you can actually start seeing some good results from this. There's also something else which I did find out that you guys may try to implement while trying to create these things. And it is the fact that once you're working with this, you might need to go over to where you have your render properties, scroll all the way down to where you get your light passes, and directly right here where you have your light passes, increase the volume. So you can set this from 12 to 64 to 128, all the way up, depending on what you're trying to work on. So let's also go here and change the base color for this one. So let's just make that base color a little bit dark, because I guess, as everything is white like this, we probably wouldn't be seeing a lot of what we have. So I'm also going to change Suzanne to get a different color. Maybe a color like that might look good. So we can set that and zoom this right in, and now preview what we have. Another thing to keep in mind as well is because we are rendering with CPU, it might be taking a toll. So let's actually switch this to GPU and get some good results. So with the GPU here, you can now see that we're getting some even better results, and they're quite fast. So this is basically how you can get started with this. So at any point in time, we can now select this stuff. And if we would like to make changes to the scale, of course, we can change the scale, and if we would like to change the scale of the very first one, of course, we can make the scale even bigger, play with it a little bit more, get some good result out of it. Preview this by simply clicking, dragging, and making that, there. And this way you have a lot of things within your hands that you can use to beautify and create some very, very interesting looking things like this. So this is more like it, and for sure I would like to know what you guys think about this one in the comment section. And for those who would like to try this one, link to this is going to be in the description. That will take you right over to this page where you can take a look at it, see how you can get started with it, and also have fun playing with this tool. Tell me what you guys think about this one in the comment section, and of course, if you like this video or you learned something from this, you can go ahead and give it a like, and don't forget to share with a friend. And if you're new here, it's going to be amazing for you to hit the subscribe button and also turn on notifications so that you don't miss the next video or the next update. And until I see you guys again with a tutorial update, Free Friday, Tutorial Tuesday, tips and tricks, things like this. Peace.